Oh, there we go.
Good one.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome back to the Unhinged BookCast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ, who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we're happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
Tonight we are reading Book 4 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, chapters 18 through 33 of The War of Two Queens. This will be another spoiler-free series as long as you've read through our current reading section.
Speaking of which, now you can discuss with us spoiler-free, chapter by chapter, in our club on the Fable app.
Also, please do all the things liking, following, and subscribing on all of our platforms.
These are Romantasy fantasy books that are intended for adults. We will be talking about war, gore, and a lot of no pants dances tonight.
Yes, so this is your content warning. Our discussions are not suitable for little listening ears. We hope you are all reading along with us, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts and theories as well.
It's already really late, so let's get
Yeah,
into it.
get into it. Okay, so chapter 18. Um, so Poppy's gonna go out and speak with the people of Oak Ambler because basically where we left off last time, correct me if I'm wrong, is they've taken that city. And that's pretty
Mhm.
much where we left off, right?
Yep. And
Um,
they basically ended the priests out with the bodies of all the children.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So she goes out to basically give like a speech to all the people and just overall the gist of it is she wants to let them know that she is not a conqueror, but rather their liberator because they're all being fed these lies that she's this conqueror, this
Yeah,
what's the word? The
person.
harbinger. The harbinger.
Harbinger. I can't say the word.
Harbinger. Harbinger.
Harbinger.
Yeah, so then after that, she's having a conversation with Kieran Valen Hissa or Hissa, whatever the general commander lady's name is, and Netta. They're talking, and someone I can't remember who speculates that if the prophecy is real, according to what the priests and priestesses believe from our last chapter chunk, then Malik is the quote unquote true king. And so then they're just talking about the prophecy and they wonder, well, if Malik's a true queen or true king, would that make Isbeth the quote unquote the conspirator from the prophecy? But I remember in Flesh and Fire, I don't know if you remember, Niktos literally is like, oh, the conspirator, that's going to be X, Y, and Z person. That's a given. Do you remember who he was talking about? Do you remember that part?
No.
Okay, really meant to go back and listen to it, but
But see, I
neither of
think
us
the
were super
true,
prepared tonight,
I
so.
know, I think the true king is Colas though, or whatever, supposedly.
Okay, so I have a little theory now before we get too far into this. I texted it to you like the day after we recorded last time. I was listening to our not the episode that came out this Tuesday, but the Tuesday before. And they were talking about you and I were talking about how, like the unseen people and there's like the one guy that's
Oh
leading
yeah,
them.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so he's like this one guy that's leading them doesn't seem alive all the way, but he's not dead.
Yeah, there's
And
one
she
guy that's
can kind
obviously
of read emotions off of him.
there's one guy that's obviously not dead.
Uh-huh.
He's got the binds around
He's got
him,
the okay, that was the thing. I
and
was like,
he's the one that's
he's
like
got
running all the
the
uh the
unseen
unseen
things, the
people.
germs
Yeah,
and
the
all that.
germs.
And he's got the blood of or the bone of the deity and the roots, the bone and root shackles just like hanging off of him. Those are only used to control
Hold back
gods.
gods. See, but I
So,
thought he had him wrapped around him and she was like, no, he's gonna try and bind me with him, is what I thought she
oh,
thought.
I
But
didn't
I
remember
think I
that.
think you could be right.
My theory is, what if that's Malik? Because I strongly believe that he's alive. Well, I mean, we know he's alive, but like, I think he's been liberated already.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, wait a minute. So, okay.
And it makes sense. Yeah.
And that's not part of this chapter, sorry. Bunny
I
Trail, I
know,
just
but
had
it
to
was
throw
a
that in here
thought.
before
Yeah.
we got too far. Yeah.
Since we're talking
So,
about the true king and everything.
yes. Okay. So then during this little conversation, anyways, that she's having with these Poppy's having with all these guys, she has like this light bulb moment. And I'll let you take this part from here
Yeah.
because you
So
have
she has
the
like this
quote.
light bulb moment. I don't even remember what, but she just remembers that Sven, which is Perry's father, like knows things about primal magic or whatever. And
Yeah.
so
Well, her light bulb moment was like, wait, if we can maybe we can use primal magic to find
find Castile,
Castile.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And
then
so
yeah.
that's what they go do is they go find Perry and his dad Sven, and and they're talking about like a location spell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Sven is saying. So he says, see, I keep thinking of the location spell. Sven spoke, and I stopped rocking. I remember it because I almost used it once to find some old cufflinks I misplaced. I didn't, though. He glanced up. Primal magic is forbidden. It can change the threads of fate for a person. Not all primal magic does, but some can, and you don't want to mess with the array. I
Mm-hmm.
always forget how to say that word. Not even for a pair of cufflinks. Never did find them. Um, and like I think that's even more important now after the end of this because she uses the mist, which is primal magic.
Right. But
So
she
did she
creates it.
just change the fates? Which I think
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah.
There's a chance. Because remember at the end of A Shadow in the Ember or whatever, and they were talking with the area
Mm-hmm.
and Penelope or whatever, and then they were talking about like these like faint little lines over here that like might be able
Mm-hmm.
to happen where like it's
It's
not the
like
end of the world basically.
unknown. Yeah, it's not set in stone kind
Uh-huh.
of thing. Yep.
Was this one of them? One of the things she has to do? We move on, but before we move on from this chapter, somebody comes in. Well, I think it's just her and Kieran sleeping, maybe. But they're like, there's two people coming from mezzanine or wherever they were before, and they're here for you or whatever. And she's like thinking, oh shit, does something happen? She goes
Mm-hmm.
out to find that it's Gianna,
Yep.
the woman, because I think we are just talking about her last time,
We were.
and Tawny with
Yep.
white hair.
Yep.
Mhm. So, chapter 19, we have Snow White Tawny, and she's telling everybody about, I think it's just like Valen and Reaver and Kieran's in there.
I think so.
But she's telling everybody about like how basically she wasn't dead, but like she felt like she was basically dead. And they're like, yeah, you kind of look dead, bro. And then
Yeah.
she saw Victor,
Yes. Oh my
and
gosh. I
he's
did not see
like,
that coming.
yeah. And so Tony's like, she's thinking she wasn't supposed to wake up. And okay, when she said that she didn't think she was supposed to wake up, and I was like, she's Jadis. I told
Okay.
you she was.
I
She's
had
a
that thought
goddess
too.
essentially, Shadowstone. So this is what I'm thinking. So
Okay.
she's so that would mean she's a goddess essentially, right? So Shadowstone is paralysis for the gods,
Uh-huh.
basically, making them sleep.
But you
And
said that last time
someone
too.
would have had to have made all the gods go to sleep. Why? And I am calling it
Mhm.
now that is what goes to sleep. And remember, she gets hit with the shadow stone that has like some thing on it, and it makes her go to sleep
Yeah.
when they get captured.
Yeah.
Puts her
My
in a deep
only
sleep.
thing about that theory, because I thought that too initially, and you could still totally be right, but wouldn't Reaver know if she was Jadis?
Oh, so basically, Victor is basically was this same kind of thing that was the consort or Seraphina's Sir, whoever he was, Sir
Sir
Holland.
Holland. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Um,
He's a fate.
yes. And then
Well, no,
it's like
he's not a fate. I wrote it
he's
down.
no, he's something else. And then Victor is a Victor.
Right, Victor's a Victor.
Victor's a Victor. And I wonder if Victor is her dad or was her dad.
Who's dad?
Poppy's.
No, we know who Poppy's dad is.
Okay. But not like her real dad, like the dad that raised her, Leopold.
Leopold? I thought he was a different
Mhm.
person. Also a Victor, though.
Okay, hold on though. But
Okay.
remember how like Victor, okay, so he's this Victor, and they don't really remember their previous lives, just who they are supposed to protect. And then so
Okay.
in the dream memory
Yeah.
of when I think this is after she got hit with the Shadow Stone, right? And the mom says, but he's her Victor or something like that to the Shadow
Uh-huh.
Man.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Talking
so he
about
killed him.
Leopold. So, okay. So, Victor from like book one, his sad story or whatever that he's always told Poppy. And like, that's what she
Oh,
was saying is like, I can't, I hope he's at least in the Vale or whatever with his wife
oh,
and
yep. Mm-hmm.
daughter.
Mm-hmm. I totally see what you're saying, and
So,
I
I'm
100%
thinking
agree. Yes,
something like that. So,
I agree.
Victor is
He was
Leopold,
killed that
Leopold's
night.
Victor.
He was killed as Leopold, and then he got
Uh-huh.
sent back as Victor,
Uh-huh.
still to protect her.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yep. 100% I'm agreeing with
Yep.
you on that.
Okay, cool. Um, and then obviously like Tawny gives the whole prophecy because there's like a whole bunch more. I don't know if you have it. I didn't have it. It was like three
I do
paragraphs.
have
I
it.
wasn't putting it in.
I
Okay,
have the
you go
whole
for it.
thing. You ready?
Yep.
I also had what a victor is, but I think you explained that pretty good,
I
right?
liked it. I like it to go with my
And we're trying to
theory.
go a little faster here, so we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. Let me actually like pull it up all the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the prophecy from Tawny. And her memory was foggy at first, so from the desperation of golden crowns and born of mortal flesh, a great primal power rises as the heir to the lands and seas, to the skies and all the realms, a shadow in the ember, a light in the flame, to become a fire in the flesh. When the stars fall from the night, the great mountains crumble into the seas, and old bones raise their swords besides the gods. The false one will be stripped from glory until two, born of the same misdeeds, born of the same great and primal power in the mortal realm. She took a deep breath. A first daughter with blood full of fire fated for the once promised king, and the second daughter with blood full of, whoops, hold on, with blood full of ash and ice, the other half of the future king. Together they will remake the realms as they usher in the end, and so it will begin with the last chosen blood spilled. The great conspirator, birthed from the flesh and fire of the primals, will awaken as the harbinger and the bringer of death and destruction to the lands gifted by the gods. Beware, for the end will come from the west to destroy the east and lay waste to all which lies between. I almost got goosebumps as I'm reading that because, like, the end of this chapter chunk, I was like, oh my goodness, things
Mm-hmm.
are falling into place.
Chapter 20.
I
We have another Castile point of view.
really did
Um,
appreciate the back and forth between
yeah,
his and
I did
Poppy's
too.
POVs in this book. Yeah.
Yep. So they have like this other dream, the second dream or whatever. And she's like, hey, baby, I'm on my way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so then after this dream or whatever, we would jump back over to Poppy
Mhm.
and they are sleeping somewhere. Reaver's in the cart and she can't really sleep because of this. And so like some craven come up and then you just have a naked Draken just out there with silver flames at the Horde of
Naked
Craven.
Draken. I don't know
A
why that
naked
sounds cool.
Draken. I like it. Going after a Horde of Craven. But then yeah, and then we jump back to Castile. And then the Blood Queen gives him a small amount of
Mhm.
blood just to keep him on the edge. Like that was the point of it, right? And then she basically says that only a female primal can be born in mortal lands and suggests
Mhm.
basically to him that Poppy's obviously a primal of some
Yeah,
some
she
sort.
definitely suggests that.
Um,
Um, okay.
and the only way to kill a primal is with love.
Yes. And then we also find out in this chapter when she's talking to Cass, um, that she's a Demas or Demis. I'm not sure which one. Demas sounds more like demon, which I like more because she is a demon.
That would make sense.
Um, she's a Demis or Demas, whatever. Also that she can use primal magic. It's basically like stolen, borrowed magic. It's not from her, but she knows how to use it
Yeah.
because she is a Demis, which so a Demis from the book says it's a god who was made but not born, a mortal ascended by a god but not a third born and considered chosen. The few who existed, this is according to Reaver, the few who existed were considered false gods, he explained. Um, and then he basically says, like, Poppy's like, do they have any weaknesses? And he's like, well, they're, for all intents and purposes, like gods, but they're not gods. So their weakness would be the same basically as gods. Like they could be killed by
Yeah.
another god or primal or by Shadowstone through the head or heart. So
Yeah.
we learned that here in this chapter, or
Yeah,
yeah.
that was in the cave or whatever. He
That
gives her
so
the
that is
information,
when
I
like
think.
Poppy's talking to Reaver afterwards because they have the dream.
Yeah, but
So is bitch. I can't not call her that. I'm sorry.
no, I
She
love it.
tells Cass, or she tells
Cass,
she's
yeah.
talking to Cass about it. Cass finds out what she is. Cass tells Poppy in the
In the
dream.
dream. Yep.
And then Poppy tells Reaver and Kieran. And then
It's a telephone
there's a
game.
whole situation going on here. And then yeah, and then Reaver explains what that is because Poppy didn't really understand what that meant.
Okay, so chapter 21 starts with Poppy just being very thankful that her monthly cycle already ended before the camping trip, you know? And all I have to say is, girl, same. Like, that's the worst.
Right? I feel like that literally like happens every time we go camping.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Uh, yeah, and then I know you had this part. I just didn't put it down, but like the weird quiet sensation, right?
Mm. Oh, right, right. So she takes watch because they're like outside of Solus or of the capital, like waiting
Somewhere. They're
to
all
go
somewhere.
in,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. And she feels like this odd icy sensation on the back of her neck. And then she feels the sensation of millions of eyes watching her and this like presence. And then a
Uh-huh.
small wind picks up and takes this presence away with it.
But it was like weird because like everything got silent, like even the birds like
Yes, there
weren't
was like
talking.
literally no
And then
sound.
like her horse, I can't remember what her horse's name is this time.
Winter.
Winter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And so like the horse hears it too. It's like the only reason she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't think she's crazy.
Yeah. Its ears
Um,
perk.
yeah. And then yeah, she
Like
feels
I can't
like
remember if she said essence or presence, but one way or
I think
another, same sort of
essence or
thing.
something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sensation. Sensation. If I hear the word sensation one more time though, I don't know why that one's starting to bother me, but it is. Um, but yeah, so she feels that she needs to eat. She's like, yeah, I'm hungry. So she goes and gets Kieran, and he's like, I won't make this awkward. And then he like sends her some kind of awkward memories back
Right,
that she's
because
reading
they
his
can
memories.
read memories while they're feeding.
But don't worry, it's not awkward afterwards, I guess.
Excuse me.
Um, and that's about all we have. And then chapter
Yeah, pretty much.
22. Can I just say lasagna? Because I thought it was lasagna. And we
You said
talked
that
about
last
this.
episode that it made
We
you
talked
think of
about this. It
lasagna.
made me think of lasagna. And every time we listened to it during the audiobook, during Shadow and the Ember or whatever, like
Uh,
because I was reading it or listening to it so fast, I was like, they're saying lasagna, but they're not saying lasagna, but it definitely sounds like they're saying lasagna, and that's all that's in my head, right? And then so Kieran was saying like definitely sounds like lasagna or something like that. And I
uh-huh.
was dead.
Okay, I actually have the quote here. It's
Go for it.
hilarious. He goes, so Reaver speaking, he says, he nodded. I was here when the area I believe we are riding into is known by the name Lasagna. Lasagna? Kieran's brows furrowed while I frowned. Where had I seen the same name before? No, I didn't say lasagna. I said lasagna. Reaver snapped. Sounded like lasagna to me, he muttered. What was it like when you were awake, this lasagna you speak of? It made me laugh so hard because this literally, I think it was the last episode you were like, this makes me think of lasagna.
I know. And now
You and
it's
Kieran both.
fucking hilarious. Then like right after that, um, he's Reaver's saying something about how the consort was part mortal as well.
hmm
Oh, so yes, like literally right after that. I didn't enter the mortal realm often, only a few times, only when necessary, but I think it was a lot like this, like Solus. It's where the consort was born. She was once the princess, the true heir. What? The consort was mortal? Partly mortal. How can anyone be partly mortal? Just like you are partly mortal. How was she partly mortal, Reaver? She was born with an ember of the primal of life in her. Well, I drew out the word. That sounds far dirtier than I assume was intended. What does it even mean? Said Karen. It means she was born with the essence of the true primal of life in her. And no, I'm not talking the kind of third sons and daughters have. This was an ember of pure power. And then she says, why am I always more confused after speaking with you? And then he says, that sounds like a personal issue. which I
I
also
love
thought was
him. I freaking
I
love him.
freaking love Reaver and Kieran. I just love
They're
this
awesome.
whole group, and it's
Yep.
hilarious.
Yep.
But yeah,
But yeah,
um,
that's all that we learned about back in Shadow and the Ember.
mhm, yeah. So then, literally, like the next page, basically a bunch of guards show up. They end up
Uh-huh.
having a shootout.
Basically.
Um, and then the Revs show up, and of course, our one little friend who we find out later is Millie.
Yep.
Shoots her with a Shadowstone arrow.
In the shoulder.
Yep. And then, like, while she's talking, all of a sudden she goes down.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And okay, so I'm just gonna throw this in here because it just builds up to my called it moment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I said it maybe the last episode or the episode before, how she's able to read her emotions. Poppy's able to read Millie's emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and how I don't think she's fully bad, and she's gonna turn, or multiple of them are gonna turn to the good side. Anyways, once again, she is able to read Millie's emotions here, and she reads desperation and hopelessness from her at this moment. And
Mm-hmm.
then, so basically, so Millie is talking to them, and she tells Poppy that, like, in a roundabout way that doesn't sound suspicious to anyone listening, but if you're paying attention, Millie's basically like tells her the way to Castile is through the mines, but that it's in a very roundabout way,
Yeah.
and she's trying to help her. You can tell she's trying to, like, give her hints and tips without helping, like without raising suspicion from anyone.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just little winks here and there.
Yep. And then also she mentions a couple things. So she says that she also makes a comment about how Poppy, or how Millie is now Isbitch's second favorite after Poppy. And this is where I was like, I think I said it maybe an episode or two before, I can't remember, but for sure right here in chapter 22, I was like, another daughter maybe. I thought a third daughter, and that's why she had the gene to be turned Rev. Also,
Yeah.
possibly,
I
I
was
said
thinking a
here,
third daughter. Yeah.
yeah, and then also this is where I wrote it down, like also possibly Poppy's half sister. So I was sort of right.
Well,
We'll get there. We'll
technically,
get
if
there.
she's the older sister, it would make her the second born.
No, yeah, Poppy's the second born. Millie is the
No,
firstborn. No,
no.
no, she
If
literally
you're
says
thinking
she's the
about it,
firstborn.
because um she has the son with Malik.
Well, okay, I guess that's true, but
She has,
she'd be
but
Isbith's second born, but she wouldn't
hold
be
on
Eris's. Okay,
though,
sorry,
because
go
it
ahead.
goes with part of mine though. I know it wouldn't be part of Iris's, but still God. Anyway, okay, so if it's from Isbeth, so this Millie would be the second born,
Okay.
which would make Poppy the third born, which would give her the chance to have this essence or whatever
Hmm.
and be the chosen,
Okay. But
right?
I thought the chosen it was always like the firstborns didn't do anything. They, like, even during the rise and stuff, they never went
Then
anywhere.
nothing.
It
Yep.
was the secondborns that would go to, like, serve the ascended, and the thirdborns that went to the temple,
The third borns that were given to the gods, they were chosen to be given to the gods.
which I guess would be Poppy, right?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. Okay.
It's kind
Okay.
of in my thought. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I see where you're going. I see where
That's
you're
my
going.
thought there.
Okay.
But I don't know, obviously.
Okay.
So chapter 23,
Yep.
like we talked about earlier, she's having this very vivid dream memory, which I keep calling a drememory.
Yep. I like that.
I've heard that before and I like it. So drememory.
Yep. I like that.
Um, and yeah, so that's where my Leopold thing comes in. But I wanted to talk about it
Mm-hmm.
while we were talking about Victor. And then she wakes up and Kieran's like, "Hey, how you doing?" So this is where we're at. We've got clean clothes on. We're hanging out. Don't worry, Reaver's behaving. He's staying in his room though. And this is Millie. She's our new friend.
Yeah. We're at the palace now, and yeah.
Yeah. And then so she's talking about I don't remember. Oh, she's just talking about like everything she remembers. So
Mm-hmm.
there's the Shadowstone Temple, and then there's also the Temple of Persis or something like that, but it's crushed diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where we had crushed diamond?
Yep. In Elysium. right before
around the
around
outside
Nyktos'
of Nico's temple.
yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
we know from Shadow and the Ember that Nyktos' father was actually the primal of life. So Nyktos was originally meant to. We don't know now. Anyways, there's a
we don't know.
lot that I think we're gonna uncover there with Nyktos. So I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go there. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Um, so I think this is when they are going to, oh, they're watching the blessings or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
And um she's looking at the statue of Nikos or whatever, and Reaver says that is not Nikos. And
Mm-hmm.
then Millie also is like, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, yeah, she's totally in on something. She knows all of it.
Oh yeah. She's yeah. Um,
And then I don't know what else you have, but
so I just wanted to throw in here, I don't know, because it just gets me kind of excited because of reading Shadow and the Ember, and I love the history.
mhm.
Um, Wayfair Palace, same place that Serafina starts off in
Mhm.
Shadow and the Ember. Love that. The Garden District, also in Shadow and the Ember. Is it in the Ember of the Ember? Whatever it is. Um,
Shadow in the Ember, I think. Yeah.
okay. And then the Cliffs of Sorrow, also there. And
Mhm.
that is where Sotoria or whatever the chick's name is that fell off the cliff. That's why they're called the Cliffs of Sorrow, because that's the cliff she fell off
Uh-huh.
of.
Because Cole scared her. Remember, he thought she
Yep.
was pretty and he scared her.
Yep. So
And
that's
now
all there.
she
I just had
just
to throw
like
that in
keeps
there.
being reborn constantly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I had to throw that in there. Um, oh, and then I had this was just another little piece of evidence. Sorry. She's in her rooms talking with Kieran. So this is before they go to the Great Hall and the whole thing with the blessings and all that stuff. Millie and the other handmaidens come into her room, tells her to take a bath, and brings her this white dress. Poppy's like, I'm not wearing that crap. We'll never wear that again. Um, so again, this was like before we find out truly who Millie is. Millie kind of takes pity on her, like she puts up a little bit of fight, and then she's like, okay, fine, I'll go find you something else. And then basically brings her clothes from her own wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is I think one of the, not maybe the first time, but where it really kind of starts to set in for Poppy that not all the revenants have that like icy blue colored eyes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then she remembers back to Cora, her quote unquote mom, how she had like brownish colored, amber colored eyes. She didn't have that bluish color eyes.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, I won't go any farther with that right there, but this is like the first part I think it really goes on record that she really understands that they are not all revs, and it seems like the revs have that bluish color eyes.
Yeah. So chapter 24, I didn't have much other than basically the queen gives her a chance to, or a choice to see her father or Castile.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which we all knew she was gonna choose Castile. Even the queen knew. That's why
Mm-hmm.
supposedly the father wasn't there, but I think he is. Um,
Oh, you think he is?
oh, I 100%. Um, and so obviously she chooses Castile. And then
Mm-hmm.
so like I just had this thought, like as we're blindfolded going through the dungeons, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
is Golden Boy the oldest son? The way he talks about how old he is, right? Could he be Malik's son?
Maybe,
Like the Malik son one? You know what I mean?
maybe, because he
So
talks
her
about
older brother
later.
kind of thing.
He talks about later how he's old enough to like remember how things were
Uh-huh.
before Atlanteans and before mortals. But that would
Mhm.
have to mean Isbeth was mortal though. But there was mortals.
No, she
No, there
wasn't.
was
She was an
mortals then.
Atlantean.
I thought she was
Elizabeth was
mortal.
Atlantean. They were
Pretty sure
living in
she was
Atlantia.
mortal. Yeah, but there's mortals that live in Atlantia. I'm pretty sure she was mortal.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll have
But
to check on that.
I
Anyways,
don't
it
know.
doesn't
But
matter.
I
But
still
that's not a
think,
bad thought.
yeah, I
There's
still
something
think,
special about this guy.
but like
Or
this is
not
kind of like,
special,
okay,
but
so then like later, right? Everybody's talking about how the son is dead, my son died, or whatever.
right.
This is another thing where I think, what if these revenants are basically just dead gods or gods pulled back from let's just call it the veil because I can't think of what else
The
they call
yeah,
it.
what yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad thought at all. I definitely did not think that deeply about what they were.
I always think really randomly deeply into random things.
Yeah, but
Um,
you most of the time end up being right, so let's roll with
I
it.
haven't been right a whole lot yet, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's not true. I have been right a few times this time. You're doing better than I am, but that is just my random thought there. So I'm wondering if Golden Boy is um the brother of
Okay.
some sort. Just
Okay.
like I think this is Seraphina of some sort.
Okay.
Uh,
It's on record. See what
yep.
happens.
See what happens. Okay, so chapter 25, we are jumping back and forth between point of views in
Hmm.
the same chapter, which drives me nuts.
Oh, I like
I
it.
don't know about you. I know you like it, but not in the same chapter. I can't do it in the same
Oh, I
chapter.
like
Like we have to have their own dedicated chapters.
it. Okay.
Um, so she heals him just enough to take
Yeah,
off the
she gets to
edge.
see him. He's not good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And he sees that she has shadows in her cheeks, which I didn't pick up on. Like I thought this was the first time, but Kieran had said like, "Oh, the shadows are back" or whatever. So
yeah,
apparently this
I
happened at some
definitely
point.
remember it being like the second time. I can't remember when the first time was, but
Okay.
and then also right here, she speaks with like a different sound in her voice. And like
Mm-hmm.
everybody like snaps to attention, like Isbeth and Callum and everybody is like just
Yeah. Like she
like
mom voices everybody.
yeah, it's something there's something about her voice that is just like commanding and
Well,
very,
not that
very
she mom
different.
voices. My
I'm
kids
thinking it's
don't
like
listen.
the god or goddess, like that primal edge, primal
Yeah.
power coming through, or like the ether or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, she got shadows and a different sound of her voice.
Yep. And then we jump back to Poppy, and then she has
Hmm.
like this other memory, and then it ends with Isabeth saying, "Your eyes are your father's," because
Yeah.
she's thinking about the like remembering the cave cat, like seeing the cave cat
Yeah,
or
she's
whatever.
remembering because like wherever they're at, she got blindfolded when they got taken down to to see
And wherever
Cass.
they come out. So
So they
yeah, so
come out
she
in this like
remembers,
cavern.
yeah, and she remembers some being down there.
Yeah, as a
And that's how
child
she
when she
got
was in the
to.
palace,
Yep,
she
and that's how
remembers
she got
being
there.
there. Yeah, and that's how she
Hmm.
got to see the cave cat, which no one believed her that she saw this cave cat, but she
Hmm.
remembers the green eyes. This is also the spot where um she actually asks Isbeth about Cora's eyes because she's like, her
Yes.
eyes were brown. I've noticed, like, she's basically insinuating like that she's noticed that the Rev's eyes are bluish and the ones that are handmaidens but not Rev's are brownish. And she's like,
Hmm.
Cora's eyes were brown. Um, so I have the quote. She says, "My mother had brown eyes, yet you said she was revenant. She was not your mother. She was Ian's, but not yours." Tension bracketed her mouth, and she did not have brown eyes. Hers were just like the others. "I remember them," Poppy said. "She hid them, Penelope, with magic. Magic I lent her, just like she'd lent the essence to Vessa. And I did so only because when you were little, her eyes scared you." I thought
Hmm.
that stood out to me for some reason. Why did her eyes scare her? That's weird.
Hmm.
But
But
that's
also
this part.
like,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, she was using the primal magic again at some point,
Yeah,
supposedly.
which Poppy was like, "Oh, you were using stolen magic again," and she's like, "Not stolen, borrowed."
And see,
Okay.
like, I wonder if she can't use the primal magic, but like she can be a vessel for it. Because it seems like
Isbeth
she's
or Poppy?
Isbeth,
Yeah.
because she's like
I don't think
giving
she's
it to
allowed
other
to
people.
like, yeah, I don't think she's like
I don't
allowed to
think she
use
can use
it.
it, but she can be like the vessel.
Yeah, because she gave it to Vessa.
Yeah, that's why she keeps saying borrows it.
Yeah.
So
Because she's a false god, so she shouldn't, I don't know, as far as I can understand, she shouldn't have like her own magic, but she can like use the magic,
yeah,
kind of. Anyways, okay.
yeah.
That chapter ends with her basically remembering the cave cat as Leslie was talking, and it looks at her with the same green eyes. And then that jumps right into chapter 26. Isbeth like totally jumps into her thoughts. She's remembering this where she got to see the cave cat and everything. She remembers the cave cat looking at her, having the green eyes. Chapter 26 starts with Isbeth being like, "You have your father's eyes."
Yep.
So, and then I'll let you take it from
Yeah,
there.
and yeah, so like they talk about daddy or whatever, and
Hmm.
basically saying it was consensual to make her, but this is also
Yeah.
where Isbeth says that it happened twice.
Okay, I have this in
He was a
here and
willing
I was
participant
like,
twice.
oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, more to your sister theory or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was more or less like, why do you still keep him or whatever? Um, and she's talking to the queen like, what would you have done if I had chose to see my father instead of Castile? And she goes, you wouldn't have. And it's right, because she wouldn't have. Um, but if I had, you wouldn't have allowed it, would you? When she didn't answer, I knew that was right. Anger
Mm-hmm.
replaced the shame. Why haven't you let him return to Elysium? Other than the fact that he would be sure to return once he regained his strength, when he couldn't be so easily subdued. I need him to make my revenants. And then a ripple of understanding went through me. You needed a god to ascend the third sons and daughters, and you already had knowledge of Colus's essence and how to use it, thanks to Malik. So this is, and she's like, oh, you're a smart cookie, smarter than I thought you were. So basically, so you know how like in Shadow of the Ember or whatever, it was Colus, it was the one that was not treating. So they have the chosen third daughters, whatever, sons and
Mm-hmm.
daughters that come
Mm-hmm.
and they actually do serve the gods, right? But
They
it was,
actually are chosen. They have something in their blood. They
mhm.
actually,
but
yep.
the
Mm-hmm.
but Colas was not treating his fairly and stuff like that. Like they didn't
Right.
know what was actually going on. So she needs a god
Uh-huh.
to basically do whatever this guy or whatever Isbeth is doing with
Uh-huh.
Iris, which I still think is somehow bringing these people out of the veil or from dead gods or whatever. And for whatever reason, maybe she needs his blood or something like that to be able to
Mm.
take these bodies essentially and then put the gods in them. And that's why the blood forest is so big, and that's why the blood forest calls her, because they're
Mm.
all dead gods. And yeah.
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
You're good.
um but um and then okay, so then this is just down from it, and then like that's when she puts her hand on the pillar, whatever, and she feels the
Mm-hmm.
engravings or whatever. A circle with a sash through it, half off center, just like the bone and rope symbols in the woods near the Dead Bones clan. What are these
Mm-hmm.
marks? I asked.
Hmm.
A safeguard of sorts, she answered. I pressed my thumb against the markings. More stolen magic, borrowed magic. How do they act as a safeguard? Isbeth's gaze lifted to mine and she smiled. They keep things in or things out. Okay. So first off, I want to take you back to we'll get to the blood forest. Okay, first I'm gonna take you back to the first time when the handmaiden comes into Castiel's cell or whatever. And remember,
Uh-huh.
he sees
Okay.
her stick her hand in the water to wash off some symbols that he didn't recognize.
Oh, I
Right.
forgot about that.
Mhm. So I'm like, okay, so is she warding off something? Maybe Craven, or maybe it's how
Maybe.
she's like masking herself from like people sensing her or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then um hold on. It was just there. It was
You're
just
good.
there.
You're good.
So then in the blood forest. Okay, so this is book one,
Yes.
and
Book one.
they
Maybe
are
two, but one way or another. Beginning.
no, I know, no, I'm going back to the beginning.
Okay.
We are in book one,
All right.
and so she is still the maiden, and she thinks that this guard hawk and his team is taking her to Carcedonia to be safe with the queen, right?
Right. Right.
And they enter the blood forest. This is after the first handy sleeping trick. Okay. This is like the day after. And that is the first time in the stones.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different like stone structures made into these symbols.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when like the Craven, well, okay, first comes the brats and then the Craven.
Right.
I think, like as I was just saying, this is where like these gods are like entombed or whatever, and then they can go into the blood forest and take them out. But I think Malik is entombed there.
Yeah. Yes, I had the same thought.
Uh-huh.
I had the same thought. I think Jennifer Armentrout kind of cleverly kind of threw us off track a little bit with
Oh
the
yeah.
Dead Bones clan. Like, oh yeah, that's their symbol.
That's their symbol.
No, I think that was the ward used to keep Malik in first.
But see, that's why I like your Malik is the unseen leader, grim
Okay,
leader
yeah.
guy,
Uh-huh.
because that's where they seen him too, was in the Blood Forest. The second time when they're on their way to somewhere.
When they see the Dead Bones clan, or
No,
when they see
you're
the
right.
symbols.
It was only with the Dead Bones clan, wasn't it? It was only in the Blood Forest when we seen the symbols.
It was in the yeah, it was only in the Blood
But,
Forest. But
do you know the first time we seen the symbol?
it was in the outside the castle that she grew up in.
Uh-huh.
When
Well,
what's
she
his
didn't grow
nuts
up in that
died.
castle. It was where she was kept with the
Yeah, yeah,
Tiermans
yeah.
when
Rylan,
Rylan
when
died.
Rylan died,
She
when
put her
Jericho
hand
killed
down
her,
in his
killed
blood,
him.
and that was the first
Damn.
symbol was there. I think it was kept to keep anybody out from finding her and to keep her in. And now
Yes.
I'm nervous. She's going to get entombed with this symbol. So she needs to tell
Okay,
somebody about this like today. Like that should have been what we should have been
right?
talking about before all the fight. Okay.
No, for real, because okay,
This is
in
how she's going to get entombed. Guaranteed.
last episode, we literally, I think our last episode ended with her telling, or pretty close to it ended with Kieran, her telling Kieran, like, if I go nuts, you've got to entomb me, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been said. I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. I think we said that last time. It's been
Yeah.
said it's gonna happen. And now here we go with these wards, these symbols or whatever.
Mhm. And the
It's gonna
shadow
freaking
stone, I'm telling you,
happen.
I think
And then what
paralyzes
Millie says to
gods
Cass later, also,
and puts them to sleep. I
it's
know.
gonna
I
happen.
know. We need to
Damn
keep
it.
moving.
Okay, let's move.
So we'll just try to move really fast because we're only on chapter 26. Okay,
Holy
so
mackerel.
also Castiel's point of view, Millie is the sister. So I'm gonna let you have this for a
Right.
second.
Okay, wait, are we still in chapter 6?
We're still in
Yes, 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 yes.
26.
Okay, yeah, so I'll try and roll through this really fast. Anyways, Millie comes in. She uses his little bath that he refuses to use. She washes all the paint off her face. She had some sort of dye in her hair. She has this like silver gray-ish hair, right? Like silver
Yeah,
colored
like white
hair.
hair, snow white
Mm-hmm.
hair.
But she's got like the same freckles. She's got the same features. She's a little thinner, I guess, but
She
she is
sounds
Poppy.
like Seraphina.
Yes. Isbeth tells Poppy that her and Eris get together 2 times. I got really excited right here because I'm like, why would she make a point of saying 2 times? Obviously, one time
Mhm.
was to make Poppy. What was the other time? So I take notes
Exact
as
spot.
I go. I don't know how you do it, but I take
That's how
notes
I do
as
it.
I
Yeah.
go. Yeah. So I was taking notes as she was saying that to Poppy. And I was like, as I'm taking notes, I'm going, the second time or first time, well, now we know it was first time, but I thought it was the second time was like, that was Millie. Like, I swear Millie is her sister. Then, literally like a paragraph later, Millie comes into Cass, washes all this shit off, basically says, I'm her sister. Pop or Cass can see it in the resemblance. And then he's like, okay, so hold on, are you full-blooded? And she's like, yeah, I'm her full-blooded sister. Like Eris and Isbeth are my parents, same as Poppy. And he goes, okay, so that means that you're a goddess, just like her. She says, no, I am not a goddess like Poppy, even though they are full-blooded sisters. She says that she is quote unquote a failure.
Mhm.
So to sum it up, basically, um, so she needed like Isbeth needed a strong Atlantean bloodline. It's all been planned out from the beginning. That's why she took Castile to begin with. Then that's why she kept Malik and then took Castile again. So the bloodline that she used to try and ascend Millie, essentially, didn't work. Whatever Atlantean she had at the time or whatever, it didn't work. It didn't make her strong enough. That's why she kept Malik and all this stuff. So that's why Millie's a failure. Poppy's a second chance. That's why Millie feels different.
Yeah, I
Millie
thought it was
then,
because it was before her culling,
yeah.
and that's why we're waiting for poppies.
So that's where she gets to. She tells Cass
Oh, okay.
that so she's waiting, Isbeth is waiting for Poppy to complete the culling. And then she will use her to get what she's wanted since her son died, which is revenge on everyone. And by revenge on everyone, she doesn't want to wipe everyone off the earth. She wants to remake the realms into what they were before the first Atlantean was ever created. Like what the realms were when we read Flesh and Fire. That's what she's going for again.
Yeah.
But she basically tells Cass that he's going to end up having to stop Poppy to kill her because
Because only
love
love can kill a
is the
primal.
only weakness of a primal, which we learned in the Flesh and Fire book in Shield of an Shadow of Ember or whatever.
We'll get this right eventually.
Oh. And then she says that Poppy has not finished the culling yet, which we knew because Reaver consents when she's finished. She says if Poppy finishes the culling, she will do everything the queen wants her to, and it will end the mortal realm and Elysium before it remakes everything. And if Cass can't or won't stop her, that she will, quote, drown the realms in blood. And that is how this chapter ends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So chapter 27. All I have is that Golden Boy stabs Cass.
Yeah. Basically, this chapter, Callum comes in, Golden Boy, Callum, he comes in, and he's talking to Cass. So the only thing I thought stood out here, I have a little quote from the book. I don't remember what the conversation was, but it turns towards love and Cass's love for Poppy and like how that's gonna be the end all.
Yeah.
And then Callum says, quote, love, such a strange emotion. I've seen it take the most powerful beings down, he said. Millicent's words knocked around in my head again. I've seen it give others unbelievable strength, but out of all the many, many years I've lived, I've only seen love stop death once. Is that so? Callum nodded. Niktos and his consort. I stared at him. You're that old? I'm old enough to remember the way things used to be, old enough to know when love is a strength or a weakness. And then he goes and he stabs Cass in the heart. And he
Not
goes,
in the heart, right next to the
not
heart.
in the heart, you're right. Not he misses it barely, but he misses it. And he says, like, what happens to an Atlantean when there's no more blood left in their body? And he knows as soon as that happens, they don't die. They just are 100% given over to the bloodlust. And they're like Craven on steroids. So,
Uh-huh.
and that is where this ends. And we move to chapter 28.
So chapter 28, she is so Poppy is speaking with Isbeth, and at some point, basically Isbeth says about how Nikos refused Malik's request for their
Mm-hmm.
heartmate trials.
I actually have the quote here that she says. It's not very long. Bless you.
Hey, I have the quote here. That's fine.
Do you have the quote? Go for it. No, go for it.
No, I don't. I
Oh, you
said, do
don't?
you?
Okay. I
Sorry.
do. I do have it and it's not super long. So she says, I know who is truly responsible. Who is that? Niktos, Isabeth says. I drew back stunned. You blame Niktos? Who else would I blame? Malik wanted the heartmate trials. He called for his father. Even asleep, Niktos would have heard him. He answered and he refused, she told me, and another wave of disbelief crashed through me. Because of that, Malik ascended me, and you know what happened next.
Let's see.
29?
Yep, 29. So this is basically what we call the Great Escape, which can I say was absolutely cool.
It was cool.
Because she's like to Kieran, I think this is in the very end of chapter 28. She's like, we have to make our plans now. Like
Yeah.
tonight is the night. And so they have this big escape plan,
Hmm.
which they execute. And can we just talk about how when they all meet in the stairwell and Reaver comes out, he's covered
Oh
in
my
blood, and he's
gosh.
like, sorry, I'm a messy eater or
His
something like that.
teeth and everything. Yes.
Fucking A.
He's
Okay.
such a weird guy, but he's so cool.
I love Reaver. And so they're headed out, they're killing revenants, they're doing all the things, man. And she's called the mist, like I've said before, to make everybody think that it's a Craven
Right,
attack or
because Kieran's
whatever.
like, we need a distraction. She's like,
Hmm.
let me try this.
Yeah, which is primal magic. So she's using primal magic, which is not only forbidden, but only a primal can do it. And
It's
she's the
forbidden
only one to do
unless
it.
you're a primal.
Oh, I thought even, oh yeah, maybe.
Only the primals are allowed to use primal magic.
Right. Okay.
Which is why Isbeth, she steals it slash borrows it according to her.
Right.
But Poppy can use it because she's
Yeah.
a primal. Yep.
So Malik finds him in the temple.
Yep.
And I think it's just interesting about how Reaver says he's been here before, but we haven't heard his story of this yet. So I'm hoping that comes in the next book of like why
Yeah.
he's been there.
Because it's in the mortal realm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he like knows where these temples are or whatever. And then like all the lights show up because she has primal blood in her.
Hmm.
And that's when Malik shows up and he's
Hmm.
gonna help him. He wants to help his brother, whatever.
Well, he explains that the reason he wants to help is actually not necessarily for Cass, but that, I mean, now he wants to help Cass, but he explains that like everything he's done up to this point is actually for Millie
Yeah.
because they are heartmates.
Oh, how cute.
Which I called that.
I think you did.
I called that because you were back and forth, and I was too for a second there of like, is Malik actually like in on it or is he like a double agent? And but the way he flinched when she had the knight stab Millie to prove her like how they can come back to life when they first meet
Mm.
in Oak Gambler.
And how they look at each other.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was like, oh, he's got feelings for her. And yeah, so they're apparently heartmates. So the brothers have the same taste, sort of,
So cute.
for the sisters.
Uh-huh. Which is weird. Anyway, chapter 30.
Yep, chapter 30.
They've gotten Castile out. They've basically knocked him out
Yeah, they
and
knocked him
taken the
out.
chains with them. And
Only the chains around his wrist. They took off the ones on his like ankles and neck.
yeah, they took off the shadow stones.
Yeah.
They're using the other ones to
Yeah.
hold on him. Yeah.
Hmm.
So chapter 30, we get to this safe house. We've made it across town. We get to this safe house, and that's all I had.
Yeah, so they get to this house. It's like Malik's like, I know this place where you guys can stay for a couple of days. So it's like this part in the city where it's not the slums, but it's not the rich part. It's like in between. The people that live there, they're dissenters. Um,
Uh-huh. They're of
Blaz,
Atlantean descent, I thought.
she is.
Okay.
He's not. But Blaz and Clariza, I'm gonna go with that for the
Yeah.
names.
Like it.
And yeah, so we find out a little bit later that, or maybe it's in this chapter. I didn't write it down, but Clariza is a descendant of Atlantean blood. Her great grandmother or something was Atlantean. Anyways,
Uh-huh.
um, but they don't know Malik as Malik. They know him as Elian. He goes by
Right.
Elian, which
Yeah.
is his middle name, and he is named, which we learned about, Elian Denier, their
Which
ancestor,
was the first one that
to
called
create
the Nikos to create the
the woven
woven.
bond.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was the first one bonded to a woven.
Yep. So they get there, and then they give them a room. They're like, we need a quiet room with walls that are strong and a ceiling and doors that are strong.
Mhm.
They give them the best that they have. Um, and then the chapter basically ends with they finally see Cass in the light, and he's like way worse off than they thought. He is gone, basically.
Except
Gone to
he wakes
bloodlust.
up.
Not dead, but he is gone to bloodlust.
And he wakes up. He opens his eyes.
Yep.
So chapter 31, we feed the baby.
Yeah, they're able to subdue him enough
Yep.
for Poppy to
Yep.
send her happy vibes into him. Then
And
he feeds from
then
her.
we get some very happy vibes, and they fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
Basically.
basically.
31 was a quick one. And then not a lot
It
of
was a quick
detail
one.
there, except for, I don't know, I liked it. I liked it. I liked
Chapter
32.
32.
32, same stuff. They talk.
Castiel's point of view. They talk kind of about what's been going on, and then they,
Again. Or
yep,
maybe it's the same, one way or another.
maybe we don't know.
Short chapter. Moving
You
on.
ready?
Last chapter of our
Chapter
tongue here.
33. Still a Castiel point of view.
Oh my gosh,
And
this part.
who has to feed? It's Poppy has to feed or something, right? They're gonna feed
Right,
Poppy now.
Poppy needs to feed. Yeah,
Or
Cass
the
is
baby
finally
needs
like back enough that he's realizing like he's back into reality enough. He's not strong yet, but he's like she needs also to feed, but I know she can't feed from me because I need the blood that I just got.
Oh,
So,
so they go get Kieran, right? And then she's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make you feel like a snack or something. He says,
okay, I
I'm
have
not
the quote.
do you have
You
it?
want me to
Okay,
read it?
thank
Yep.
God, yes, please.
So he goes she goes, "It's just I don't like using you as a snack." His brows flew up. Well, first off, I don't like to think of myself as a snack, more like a whole damn meal.
Hmm.
Okay, dude. Okay. I've got some confidence, not like a lot of humility, but okay.
Died. And if somebody ever calls me a snack, I'll be like, I'm a whole damn meal.
Right?
And the very last end, we have, hey, so you're that crazy chick? Yeah, she's your big sister. Congratulations.
Yeah. Okay, but I have to point out here. unless you have
Okay.
anything else to say.
Nope, that's all I had.
Okay. So, Kieran and Cass are talking. Poppy's asleep.
Oh
Kieran wakes
yeah,
or
that's right. I
Cass
totally
goes
forgot
out to
about that part.
Kieran. They're visiting, kind of debriefing a little bit, catching up. And Cass tells Kieran about Millie being Poppy's sister.
Hmm.
And so Poppy is, you know, putting not to put your theory aside for a second, but as far as we know right now, Millie's the firstborn, Poppy's the secondborn. Let's go back to the prophecy for a second. Holy crap. I literally, when I read this just like a couple hours ago, honestly, I was like, Joseph, my husband, was sitting right there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just put pieces together. I got so excited. I was like, what the hell? So, the first and second daughter, quote here. The first and second daughter parts didn't even connect when Poppy said it. Fated for the once promised king. I looked forward toward the hall. If Malik speaks the truth about her being his heartmate, it makes sense. And doesn't because Poppy isn't going to remake any realms. Then they continue talking about it. And then he tells Poppy about it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
so since we're at the end here, I'm just going to go straight into my theories if you're okay with that,
Okay,
unless you
go
have
for it.
anything else to add
Nope.
here. From the desperation of mortal crowns and born of mortal flesh, I'm going to say Poppy. A great primal power rises as the heir to the lands and the seas, to the skies and all the realms. Poppy, right?
No.
You don't think so?
It could also be, remember how Reaver was saying that the consort was part mortal?
Right. But yeah, okay.
I don't know. I'm just
But
I'm not like debunking it, but like I still think that like
but it
Millie is
says a
Seraphina in a way.
well, it says a great primal power, which I guess technically you're right because
She
they
has the
have that
essence of the
ember of
primal.
light or that ember of
Yeah.
life, which is from the primals. Okay. Okay, so it could be Poppy
It
or
could be
Seraphina,
either.
or they
Yeah.
could be one and the same
Yeah.
if we're thinking this. Okay. All right. So a shadow in the ember, a light in the flame to become the fire in the flesh. When the stars fall from the night and the great mountains crumble into the seas, and old bones raise their swords from besides the gods. Remember when they went to Elysium the first time?
Yeah. And
Old
then it was all
bones
skeletons.
raising their swords along the statues of the gods.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the false one will be stripped from glory.
Queen
Isbeth,
Nisbeth.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
Um, until two born of the same misdeeds, born of the same great primal power in the mortal realm, Millie and Poppy. Born of the same misdeeds, born in the primal realm, from the primal power. Eris, right? Am I right on this?
I think so.
Okay. A first daughter with blood full of fire, fated for the once promised king, Millie, and then Malik, the once promised king Malik, which is what they were saying. And the second daughter with blood full of ash and ice, the other half of the future king, so Poppy and Cass, right? So together they will remake the realms as they usher in the end. So it will begin with the last chosen blood spilled. Poppy is the last chosen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The great conspirator, birthed from the flesh and fire of the primals, will awaken as the harbinger and bringer of death and destruction to the lands gifted by the gods. See, I think that's Seraphina.
Yeah, that makes sense too. That's how
Will
she'll wake up.
awaken, will awaken as the
Uh-huh.
harbinger. And they keep saying, like, the only way to subdue her because she was on a war path because of her sons was to put her to sleep. She had to go to sleep, Seraphina,
Mm-hmm.
the consort, because of that. So I think that's Seraphina.
That could make sense. Yeah.
I think that there is Millie, there's Poppy, and I think there's Seraphina, and I think we're gonna see them all three together at some point. That's my thought.
I like it.
Oh man.
Well,
Okay,
we
I think
should
we're gonna
finish
get
up.
answers. Yeah, we should. I think we're gonna get answers when we go to the next Flesh and Fire. I really hope. I really think we're gonna get some
I
more
think we're gonna get
answers.
some answers before we leave
Yeah.
this book.
Yes, I agree. I think we are.
So,
Okay. So before we finish up, I just have to ask because we forgot to do this on the last one. Cry counter. Where are you at?
Oh, I think last time I said I was like at a 0.25. Like I
A
thought
quarter.
about crying, but like nothing happened.
Yeah, and I think the last book, and I don't even remember. Oh, I do remember where it was. I was at a half, honestly, with I think the last chunk that we read.
So there was a tear, but it didn't fall.
Yep, they came to
Okay.
the eyes, but they didn't fall. And then I will admit that I also had another half at this book,
Oh,
or
goodness
at this chapter
gracious.
chunk. I did. So I'm at a one.
You're at a whole
And
one.
this one was at when Kieran and Cass are talking in the kitchen, and they're having like this deep brother, I'm back, I love you moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. That got to me. That one got to me. So I'm
Oh,
at a
how
one
cute.
for the series so far, technically.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm at a 0.25 is what we're gonna call it. A quarter of a
Okay.
cry.
Quarter and a one. That
I
checks.
love it. It checks out.
Yep. Alrighty, closing out. So we hope that you are all enjoying the series as much as we are. We are first-time readers of the series, so we hope that you follow along with us. Or if you've already read the series, we hope that our discussions can be a refresher for you before book 6 comes out in September. Make sure to join us on Facebook and Instagram for more fun and conversations.
As well as our club on the Fable app, where you can discuss with us spoiler free, chapter by chapter. Next week, we will be finishing out book 4 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, The War of Two Queens, chapters 34 through the end of the book.
If you are enjoying reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button on your way out.
And buddy reading any book with book besties is so much fun.
So make sure to share our podcast with your book besties. And if you don't have any book besties,
Then consider yourself one of ours. And until next time, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books of spice. Bye.
Bye.